I need to update that intro now with a new joke. That was the problem, that when I put a joke in, it means that it gets aged very quickly. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal Q&A Thursday with your hosts, myself, Anne Rekovich, and
Renata Daniel, and we are both in red. Fancy that.
Oh, fancy that. And I'd just like to give a big shout out to Sharon, who has sent us a super sticker before we've even started. We should have just stayed offline and people could have sent super stickers.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
For trusting us to actually deliver some content. And before we even opened our big mouths, you sent us a super sticker. Thank you so much.
This is our last one before we, thank you, Robin. We head off to New Orleans. We will be heading to the airport a week tomorrow and heading off on a flight on Saturday morning, where we will fly to Los Angeles. Then we transfer to a flight to Fort Worth, Dallas. Then we transfer to a flight to New Orleans, and we arrive in a puddle of exhaustion in New Orleans.
And then we've got to get an Uber.
We get an Uber that will hopefully get us to the airport, not to the airport, to our accommodation, which Renata tells me is a commune, because that's all we can afford. We'll be on the very edge of the French Quarter of New Orleans, and it is a little guest house type thing where they all sit on cushions in the lounge room and talk.
And smoke weed, probably. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
She's making that part up, I hope. So we're there for 2 nights.
It looks like one of those places that the hippies in the 80s would go to when they were traveling from place to place, and all they had was whatever they had in their backpack. That's what it looks like. So I don't know. I think what we will do, Anne, is we will record what that place looks like.
Oh, absolutely will. There will be an Anne and Renata Misadventures series made out of these.
Yep.
Absolutely. Drop acid. And Joanne, thank you so much for your generosity. You are just being so kind. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the stars, and also thank you for the coffees that you sent us. We really appreciate that.
Oh, Indy, yes, a fondue. Fondue.
I used to make fondues.
Oh my God. We're going to do food reviews while we are there, and we're going to review every bit of food that we get. So you must stay tuned for those.
Anne and Renata reacts to Cajun food, but we don't eat seafood. So, well, I eat prawns.
You'll be seeing me at the side of the table like this going. Oh, dear.
We leave Saturday morning, Byron. So a week this Saturday. What's that? The 30th?
Yeah, something like that.
30th of September.
The end of September, people. Wow.
And we used
Hey, Robin.
collecting Qantas frequent flyer points like mother chuckers, and we have actually funded this trip to New Orleans with frequent flyer points. Yes, we did have to apply for an Amex card to get it, but we did it. We did it. We got some free flights, and we're using our credits from our trip we were meant to take in 2020, I think it was, to get home. So we've done really, really well. Oh, that's a
Thank you so much, Crystal.
Yeah,
thank you. what you will find on the Anne and Renata Frightfully Good family page and also on the True Hauntings page is a post that gives you a link to vote for the True Hauntings podcast for the listener's choice in the Australian Podcast Awards. So this is about as close as we're going to get to anything within the Australian Awards, because we are placed into the same category as True Crime. And you've got really big players that are putting out true crime podcasts. So we kind of got no hope. But we figure if all of you vote,
Robin.
If all of you vote, if we get into the top 50, we are going to be happy as pigs in mud.
Renata's going to lift her top up to get some beads in New Orleans. That's how excited she's going to be. And to do that, you know what she does? She goes, ooh.
And
we all vote then 6.
One will get there before the other one. That's all I'm saying. They're both not on the same level.
You're talking boobs here,
yeah, boobs.
Oh, okay. I didn't need to know that. that was too much information. Like oranges in socks. Hey, well, it's not as bad as the blokes, which are kiwi fruits and stockings. All right. Anyway, this show is meant to be about your
Sparks.
Hi, Sky.
That's what we'll call you from now on, Sparky.
That's it. She's got a new nickname. This show is your paranormal question and answer show where you ask some questions that you are curious about the paranormal, and we do our best to give you an answer. And we also welcome our community to give their opinions as well.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, Shane.
Oh.
Hey, Leanne.
Anyway.
Yes.
Roscoe88. Hi, ladies. Is there a device that spirits can speak through that doesn't have all that static noise?
Yeah, it's called a voice recorder.
Well, that would be EVP, but I assume that you're talking about still using the spirit box. They have created one that's called the ANC, ANC, and that reduces a lot of that noise. There is also another one.
It doesn't reduce a lot. It's not like you don't hear any of the white noise. You still can hear a little bit of the white noise. It just stops a little bit when it gets to some sort of a voice or something that sounds like a voice. So it gives you the opportunity to listen to that a little bit longer.
This is the latest one that they've brought out, which is not a spirit box. It connects to the spirit box that you have, and it's the APFD processor, and you can actually record with it, and then while you're listening in the feed, if you think you get a response, you can rewind it and play it back. I think this reduces some of the noise too, but it's, if you look for the SB11 ANC, ANC, or you can buy an attachment that goes to the spirit box, which I think I have over here. I've been running out of stuff. Whoop.
If she digs around in there, you just never know what you'll find.
That's the speakers. Here it is.
Please, if you have any questions, guys, put them in the chat so that we can answer them for you. Anything at all, whether it's about our trip, our upcoming trip, or anything paranormal.
So that is the ANC Mini. So you can attach that to any spirit box that you already have. I have some of these you can buy on their own. You can also get them that comes with a round speaker, which really bumps up the volume. But yeah, you just connect it. They've got the cables and everything in there, and that will remove a lot of the noise and just leave supposedly the voices that are coming through. I still highly recommend you record whatever you're doing, because sometimes it happens so fast that you don't hear it. And when you do a playback, it's amazing sometimes the results that you've got. Thank you for your question. Really appreciate that. Andrea. Hello, Andrea. What's the best way to close a Ouija board?
There are a number of different ways depending on sort of what you have been taught or what you have listened to or what people who have done it that you have been doing it with, how they do it. It's about you being comfortable with closing a session off. And what the ladies do normally in our Ouija board sessions is just announce the fact that we are closing the session now and that no further communication will be entered into. And they tend to either tap the Ouija board or turn the planchette over or say to everyone, take your fingers off and sit back from the table. So you kind of disengage energetically as well. So you can do all of those things or one of those things or none of those things. Some people say a prayer. Some people will remove the planchette altogether. Some people will turn the Ouija board over. Some people will...
I used to smack it to break the energy.
Yeah.
Just go like boom.
Whatever you're comfortable with that kind of psychologically puts an end to that conversation and closes your communication.
Sabina, how are you? Have you recovered from the trip to Norfolk? Geez, you're a good sport, I tell you. Oh, the shortbread was amazing. It was so good. Anyway, I digress. What do you think of all the apps that allow spirits to speak to you, like Spirit Talker, etc.?
They're fun to play with, and I think that's how you have to approach it. They're fun to play with, and occasionally it'll spit out something where you go, that's really creepy. It's impossible for that to have come out when we said a particular thing. So you can call that whatever you like, but none of these apps can be used as evidence that there is really something going on. Scientists or paranormal, very, very professional paranormal investigators or parapsychologists would not be able to accept that as any sort of evidence. Sorry,
just so they can see your pretty face there, Renata.
So treat it as a fun thing to do and experiment with it. I think a lot of people who use it and put stuff online using things like this can depend on it too much and be swayed by the conversation that's going on. So instead of leading the conversation, a spirit talker or something will say something and they will go on with that conversation from there, rather than leading the conversation and actually asking a particular question and waiting for that particular question to be answered. So, for example, if you've got a spirit talker on and, for example, you might say, how many people are in this room? And it says pumpkin. You don't go, oh, what does pumpkin mean for you? Is pumpkin
Do you
something
like pumpkin
special?
soup?
You keep going and saying, well, pumpkin doesn't mean anything. I asked a question, how many people are in this room? Can you tell me? And I think they rely on it a little bit too much for content, just plain content, and everyone's putting out content like there's no tomorrow.
Roscoe 88, you got a spirit box thing, you can't make what, record it. Put a digital recorder not right next to it, but just probably about that far away from it, and play it back and listen to it. Because if you've got hearing issues like I have hearing issues, if you can sit down with your headphones on and listen and put it up to the volume that you're comfortable with, you'll be surprised sometimes what actually is picked up.
And you might be playing it at too quick a rate.
Yeah, I like it about 250. Good point. 250. Hello, Erin. Your dog is with you, not your house. I think we talked about this last week, didn't we?
We did, Erin.
Yeah, Erin, you asked this last time.
Yeah.
Your dog is with you. It's not with the location. So
I think your puppy is buried in the backyard. Am I right that your puppy is buried in the backyard? What I suggest you do, if you really, really, really want to have a memento or a memory, is go out to the backyard and take a little bit of soil from where your puppy is and put it in a jar and take that with you. So you've got that memory, you've got that connection of that particular area.
Right. Just clicking on the ones that are questions so that I can come back to them. Do you think past lives is real? Is it worth going through a regression? I seem to have a lot of deja vu.
Do not do a regression. Don't. Psychologically, it can bring up stuff that did not happen. And this is what they worry about. They worry about the brain piecing things together and creating a story that did not happen. And you've got to be really, really careful. Just really careful.
I think you've triggered Renata.
Because if you don't have the right people around you doing this, you will end up with more trouble than it is worth.
Because you almost go into a hypnotic state, and then they ask questions which are leading questions. And if they say to you, look around you, what do you see now? What are you seeing around you? Then your brain goes, oh, I'm meant to be looking at things. So your subconscious mind kicks in and goes, oh, I can see a castle. And that's your subconscious. I don't think it's...
Yeah, I
don't know about past lives.
Worry about this life. Don't worry about past life stuff, honestly. Worry about the one you're in and controlling the one you're in. That's the most important
but some people
one you're
think
in now.
It's important to look at your past lives to heal that ancestral trauma that may be there, or the past life trauma that might be there. So I can understand
what you do is you send out a connection to your ancestors and you give them a prayer and a wish, and you say, whatever that past life trauma is, I am here for you. I'm sending you love. I'm asking you to let go of that. Blah, blah, blah. Don't add on more trauma. Don't.
So Renata's a qualified counsellor, and she does the tarot readings with counselling as well, where she is doing readings at the Witch's Charm at Warners Bay. And she's answering these questions a lot. So you haven't triggered her. It's just one of her pet hates, I think.
I get passionate. I get really passionate about all of this, because I find so much that people are asking questions about why certain things are happening in their lives or why they're doing things. And it's got to be something that is doing it. They're looking for a reason, and this is what our brain does. It looks for a reason for why things happen, and sometimes things just happen. It's just life. If you're repeating patterns, then yes, you can sit down with someone and explain to them the patterning of it, and they will help you sort out why you might be doing that. You might be not even conscious of the fact that you're creating these patterns and doing these patterns. But yeah, just be careful. Just be really careful.
I've got questions here from B, Lorna, Amy, Jess, Sharon, and Joanne. So I will get to all of those. I've starred them so I can find them. What's the most compelling data that you've collected? I've had some very interesting EVPs, which I can't explain. And my very first EVP was one of my most exciting ones, where we were at a cemetery. And yeah, I don't do cemeteries now so much unless the Historical Society wants us to. And I was up at the top half of the cemetery by myself. The other two ladies were right down the bottom, which was probably a good 200, 300 meters away from me. And I asked a question like, I can't remember something a bit, but anyway, the EVP, when I played it back and I didn't hear it at the time, it was saying, we're watching you. And it was a male voice. I was in the scrub. I was in the bush. There was no people around me. So that to me was very compelling. I have that recording somewhere, but I think it's on my laptop that died. And yeah. What have you had any EVPs or any?
Oh, we've had some great EVPs over the years, but again, another one. I've had 2 at cemeteries, which have been really, really interesting. And the thing about the EVPs is that they are really clear. It's not like they're kind of going no, 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 and you're making something out of it. They're quite clear. I think EVPs are probably some of the best data that you can collect because it is a recording, and as long as they're clear and you can hear the words being said rather than trying to make out what is being said, they're great. But most of the time, it's what you're experiencing at that moment, and those moments are fleeting. And because we do so much work with the public, we don't take time to actually record everything because we'd have hours and hours and hours of recordings. We just don't have the time to go through them. So it's all about their perspective on what is happening for them rather than what we're doing. We don't get enough private cases to actually go into data collection and everything.
Emmy, I'm just going to say, put your laptop down, put your tablet down, stop working, take some time off, please. Apart from watching us. Do you have any rituals or ways that you cleanse yourself after an investigation? And have you ever brought a spirit home with you?
I usually pick them up on the way and drop them off.
He jumps out of his skin and scares the living daylights out of me when I'm driving.
Pick them up on the way, drop them off.
I used to have some rituals, and we do have a bit of a ritual at the end of a tour. Sorry, not a tour, a paranormal experience. I'm not allowed to call them tours because they're not. Where at the start of the session, we ask everyone, do they give permission for the spirits of that location to interact with them? They generally say yes. And at the end, we say, we thank the spirits for interacting with us this evening, but now you all have to remove those permissions. So we get everyone to remove the permissions. I do believe the spirit world has a lot to do with invitation and you bringing, I don't even think sometimes it's a spirit. I think it's you becoming hyper-focused on things that are happening around you and you're assuming it's a spirit because you haven't noticed them before. They've always been there. So we do that as a subconscious ritual to say that the session has been shut down. I have had times where I've come home and I may have forgotten to do that thing where I say, okay, thank you, but you don't have permission to follow me. And I will be feeling really funky for a few days, whether I've just picked up a bug or I'll have dark thoughts. I don't know. Is that just part of being human, mundane existence? And I'll suddenly go, oh, hang on, maybe I've got an attachment, but you've actually sensed energy as well. You've got, oh, yuck, what have you picked up? And I just very simply say, I don't know who you are, but you do not have permission to be with me. And if I have inadvertently given my permission, I now remove it, and you've got to go back to where you've got to go. And then once you've done that, it's sort of like it's a bit of a cleansing, and the energy starts to lift. I think it's a subconscious thing as well, that you start to look for the good things happening in your life instead of the bad stuff. Anyway. Thank you, Lorna.
Hey, Crystal.
Ohio.
We'd love to go to Ohio.
Where's Lemp Mansion? Is that near you? Because we're planning a trip next September to go back to America with a good friend, and he's going to be showing us around his state. We're a bit excited. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of that one.
Amy, we've kind of answered that question in the last question.
Oh, we have to.
Yeah. So thank you for that anyway.
By yourself?
Nah, it's no fun.
It's, how do
you trust yourself to be on that Ouija board and not push it even
because
subconsciously?
People want to be special. Good girl, Amy, go to bed.
I honestly, I have issues with Ouija boards, not by using them, but by that whole thing of you've got to have a lot of trust in knowing that you aren't there to kind of get the answer that you want. but you are prepared to take the answer that comes. I wouldn't play a Ouija board on my own.
Not because it's
not
evil
fun.
or anything like
No,
that,
it's
just because
just, yeah.
it's like nothing's
Nah.
happening. I don't have much luck with Ouija boards anyway, but I do collect them. I find them really interesting. The patterns and the history of them all. Question sort of paranormal. It's actually to do with genealogy and dead people stuck in a brick wall and can't move backwards. Can you talk to dead relatives and get some family tree info? Interesting, because we actually have had somebody come to the seance parlor to get
questions
questions
answered.
about because they were adopted. They were trying to get some information, and I think it helped.
Yeah.
From memory. So
you can
possibly,
try it. Absolutely.
Possibly. Of course, it's finding the validating information where you go, that has actually moved me forward, and I've got some information. So
yeah.
Joanne, what's the best way to cleanse a house? Nima's moving into her first flat in a few weeks. How exciting!
A great way to cleanse a house is to actually play some beautiful music and really bring the vibe up. You can get some sage and sage the house, or some Palo Santo. So sage is North American, Palo Santo is South American, but they do the same thing. They're used as a device for cleansing and clearing energy. Like I said, you can play music. You can put some beautiful flowers in, and
make the space your own.
Yeah, and some photos, family photos, so that sort of family connection is created.
Hi, Tammy.
That's all you need to do. It's really, the joy and happiness they're going to have by moving into their first flat is going to outweigh everything.
All right, Lorna. I've still got questions here from Leanne, Lizzie, and talking to Crystal. All right, so Joanne, Shane. We've also got Cassie. Oh, sorry, Lorna, I'll come back to you in a second. Do you play ghost recordings in reverse to check for voices?
Oh, Jesus,
no. Only because I don't have time to listen to them forwards, never mind backwards as well. But, I mean, some people might find something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, playing...
pareidolia of the brain, hearing words.
That's where if you're playing things in reverse or creating white noise, what you're doing is you're using the your psychic senses to be able to get messages really telepathically. Yeah. So you are more than anything interpreting for the spirit world.
Rightio. Excuse my voice. I have had a rather
talking
hefty...
about telepathy.
Telepathy, Renata. Telepathy.
It is real because it has been studied. It is one of the things that parapsychologists study all the time. That personal, that part of the human psyche. I
just like to say, you make it sound like you're yelling at them.
Sorry.
She gets passionate.
I'm passionate. That part of the human psyche that says there is more that this little pea brain can do, and we can reach beyond our world or our 5 senses and have
Erin?
6 senses that can connect with a whole lot of different things out there. So telepathy is a very studied subject, and it is real.
Thank you for your question. Renata got very excited.
Sorry, I get excited.
You're good to talk because I'm losing my voice. Hi, Alison. I'm heading to Norfolk Island next week. Best place for activity. I'm taking some equipment.
Oh, down at Kingston. Absolutely.
Anywhere in Kingston. Also around the beach area of Slaughter Bay, which is Emily Bay.
Mm-hmm.
The Bloody Bridge.
Yeah.
If you get the chance to go into the duplex, you can only do that with some guides. If you manage to find Liz McCoy while you're there, Tell her that you're fans of Anne and Renata. She may run away screaming at that stage because I think she's had enough of us. But she is part of the Hooker Milish Ghost Hunters on Norfolk Island. Also, go up to the Bounty Museum. There's a ghost up there, and Dale will tell you the story. And they've got really good Wi-Fi. Best Wi-Fi on the island. And once you've paid your money to go into the museum, you can drive back up and park your car out the front of it and use it as much as you like. These are all tips for Norfolk because we've just come back.
And Alison, just be aware that the food there is atrociously expensive.
Yeah. Only because it costs them a bomb to get it in.
Everything is double. So if you've got anything specific that you like to take with you to eat, even snack food is really expensive, again, because everything has to be shipped over. So if it's just something that you kind of want to have, but you don't want to spend that extra money to buy it, just take it with you.
Yeah. I took packs of soups and things over there just to save me some money on meals and things. Speaking of which, if anyone would like to shout us a cup of coffee to say thanks for our work, always appreciated. Just type in buymeacoffee.com/Anne and Renata, and a cup of coffee is $5, and we'd appreciate that for our New Orleans trip, so we can do some lives and things back from New Orleans and record some more videos and things for you guys for our misadventures. Leanne Jones for investigations. I will carry a cleansing crystal so I'm cleansed after it's finished. Sometimes I will say something like, I came with nothing and I leave with nothing. Oh, I actually like that.
Very nice.
I like that, Leanne. That's nice. Thank you for
nice.
sharing. Has anyone seen
But
the
you
new
actually
movie?
leave with wisdom. So you don't leave with nothing. You leave with wisdom. You just got wisdom during that session. You learned something. So, yeah, there you go. I just blew that out of the water. Sorry.
Can you read Lizzie's there while I'm trying to get my voice
Has
back for a
anyone
second?
seen the new movie A Haunting in Venice yet? Would absolutely recommend if you love the spooky stuff. Oh, very nice. Thank you, Lizzie. It's a recommendation.
Oh, good. I'll have to tell Cousin Steve about that. Cousin Steve at the moment is over in Las Vegas seeing a show, and then he will be coming home. We miss you, Steve. Come home. Leanne, do you have plans to come back to the UK? Yes.
We'd be there every year if we could. Hopefully
we have
will.
been there every year bar COVID. We
will
scrape
be in-
together with the cheapest airfares to get over there. We live on 2-minute noodles to make sure we get there every year.
That's why we look so drained when we come back. We will be in Ireland next year.
In March. Mysterious Adventures, Frightfully Good Ireland tour, honouring St. Patrick.
No,
that's not the great. It's more going to be Frightfully Good Shenanigans. Is that the name of the tour? Is that what we should call it?
Frightfully Good Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Is that enough? Is that enough to get people in to come and do the tour?
I don't know.
Might be Ghostly Shenanigans.
Yeah. Or Frightfully Good Ghostly Shenanigans. How's that? Because we've got to have Frightfully Good, because that's what she calls all our stuff. Yeah, so we will be back, but we've got it. We've got to go to America next year because we haven't been able to do a lot in America, and there is so much that I would love to show Renata, because America is a beautiful country with beautiful people in it, particularly when you're not in the big cities. So I'm keen to give her a taste. I've never heard of that place, but the Ohio State. Oh, I was talking about Lamp Mansion, Franklin Castle, which we did the True Hauntings podcast on. I'd like to go and lay some flowers there to the family who lived there and did nothing wrong. Malabar Farm.
Just a few. Come next September. Well, you never know.
We'll never know.
Never know. Big city.
Don't forget, if you've got any questions, any curiosities you want to ask, just pop them in the comments and I will get to you. Yin Jamara, thoughts on mirror scrying? I've seen some horrible stuff.
Oh, Indy, you're not a bad looking bloke.
Oh.
Well, he's a nice looking bloke.
There you go. Are you blushing? I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any more questions.
I used to do a bit of mirror scrying. It was actually really interesting. Yeah, it's just getting into that hypnotic state so that you can and I had my wisdom removed. Oh, it's getting into a hypnotic state where you can sort of do a bit of channeling more than anything else. Yeah.
Oh, what's the cafe next to the Cyclorama? Hillies. HILLI''S Hillies. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. We'll have a wedding invite in the future.
Joanne.
That's going to be a good excuse to go back.
We're still that paranormal investigation we did with you guys was awesome. It was really a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun.
Can you ghost tour at the Rocks or just normal tour? They do have ghost tours. If you look up the Rocks ghost tours, and they run some really good ones. They get inside some locations. There's one particular one that's sort of underneath these offices, and it's really interesting. Archaeological dig. It is more history and talking and ghost stories than it is paranormal investigation. Yes. The experience we had in Romania was not Romania, Czechoslovakia Republic.
I've got some memories coming up at the moment of 5 years ago when we were in Romania.
Yes, I saw that.
Going up to the mountains in the bus where the bears were.
Oh,
that was fun.
I saw a bear that'd been shot. Thank God you didn't.
Oh,
that would have upset you.
It would have.
Often goes tour in a week with a mate. Apparently, the old asylum people always get touched. I'll probably make a new doorway after you soil yourself.
Which asylum are you going to, Roscoe?
Is that Australia?
Yeah, Dudley Castle, Joanne. It was great. No, Amy, you are not too late. We are asking paranormal questions.
Yeah, Q&A tonight. So if you've got one, please ask your paranormal. It's not readings tonight. It's the
the paranormal Q&A.
Oh, sorry, my brain switched off. As in Alcatraz.
The one thing that I remember about Dudley Castle is laying in
the Rock. Right, sorry.
The Rock, sorry.
Yeah, not the Rock, Sydney. A derp.
Sorry.
I'm not sure. Just look up their website and see what they offer. And then if you've got deep pockets, ask them how much it is to hire it for 3 hours for private time.
Well, remember when we laid in those crypts in Dudley Castle?
Yeah.
Nearly couldn't. We had to squeeze into them.
Well, I was lucky because mine was already broken in half. So I just put my I think I put my head up there. I lay on my shoulders on the side with my ass hanging out the back end of it. That was great.
Oh, Lisa, you asked the best questions. That's our beautiful Lisa.
Any tips on how to introduce modern equipment to spirits from a much older time period?
So cool.
And this is something I'm very conscious of when I'm investigating in an old location, that spirits from like the 1100s or 1200s putting this stuff out with flashing lights and gadgets and gizmos to them would be like magic or witchcraft or something evil. Just like if a alien spacecraft landed in the middle of America, they'd probably try to blow it up because they're going to assume that's some sort of evil mystery thing that happened because we don't have an understanding of it. Not just America, could be anywhere. We don't have guns here to be able to blow things up. The army does. I'm squirreling. So I generally will say to them, I have a box here that has some lights on it. This is what we would call science, where we have some people who have worked out ways that we may be able to communicate with you. This box is not to harm you, but it will allow us to hopefully communicate with you and talk to you. If you come near it, the lights may change, but just know that this is science. It is nothing wicked. So it's hard to explain to someone from the 8th century that this is, if your energy comes near it, it will set the EMF meter off or something. So I try to do a really basic explanation of how the equipment works. I hope
And
that helps.
yeah, and I wouldn't bombard spirits with a whole, you know how you get some investigators that will go in with like 20 pieces of equipment, and they'll have lights, and they'll have meters, and they'll have recording devices and all of that sort of stuff. Don't scare them off. Start slowly by just sitting down and talking, number one, and then maybe bringing one thing out and going, this, I'm just going to start with this. I'm just going to show you this.
Hello, Melanie.
And that it doesn't hurt me. Whoops, doesn't hurt me. So it's not going to hurt you. So you can sort of poke yourself with it and kind of go, see, it's not going to hurt me. It's just a light, and not everyone can see you or hear you. I can't see you or hear you, but this is going to help me see you when things change on it. So keep the language really simple and do it very simply without the 25 different gadgets that you've got out there that will scare the absolute bejesus out of these things. So does that make sense?
That's Random Sky. First song I learned was "This is the day the Lord has made." Is that "This is the day the Lord has made"? I sort of have a vague. I went to Catholic school too. All right, I've got to get rid of that one. Central Station in Sydney is haunted. Will you do an investigation there? I wish.
Shane, we would love to investigate in these things, but you've got to understand that these investigations in places like this have to be organised. There are normally already groups that are doing investigations in places like this, and it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars to hire out. Hundreds of dollars to hire out these places. They don't just let you in because you kind of say, I'm a paranormal investigator and I would love to go down there. That would be awesome. But it just doesn't happen that way, Shane, unfortunately.
I wish. Maybe we become that famous that they just go, let's get the ghost grannies in. Amy Lee Ryan, cryptids. Are you going hunting in America, and do you know anything about Australian ones and where I can learn? No, cryptids is out of our zone of genius. I'm not really that interested in the cryptids so much. I think if I came face to face with one of those, I'd probably shit myself. Australian ones. Now we lost Gilroy. What's his name?
Rex Gilroy.
Rex Gilroy, who was very much into the cryptids. I think Attila is still Attila Caldi. I don't know if he's got any pages or anything out. We've got a local person that's into cryptids, haven't we?
Yeah, it depends on where you're writing from, Amy Lee. There's plenty of stuff online, really, that you can learn about it.
Any of our people know any Australian cryptid stuff? What do you think about psychics and alike being used in criminology? Is this something you would do? I don't have the skills for that. If it helps open up a case and makes them think outside the box, I'm all for it. But you can't use it as evidence in court, like the Warrens tried to do. But anything that helps crack a case, try it. Suck it and see.
And I'm sure they use psychics more than they say they do, but they would never admit to having psychics. And look, it can be more trouble than it's worth, because if a hotline comes on and every psychic under the sun says, I've had a vision, it can drive them insane. So, in the end, they're probably going, oh, God, just
You're
another
all welcome
psychic,
for that yawn.
So, yeah.
God of Thunder, if an afterlife exists, then why doesn't every psychic agree about what it is?
That's a good one.
Good question.
I like that, God of Thunder.
I think it's because if they've had a vision of the afterlife or some sort of insight, it's like a person will look at a sculpture and go, I can see that as a mother and child. Whereas another person will look at the same sculpture and say, I can see a basket of fruit. So it's an interpretation of what they are seeing or what they're experiencing through their beliefs and biases. So if they've been brought up as Christian, they're going to interpret whatever they're seeing as going to the pearly gates and meeting St. Peter and looking for their name on the feckin' list. Or if they've been brought up in the spiritual world, they're going to see energy and colors and
Angels.
so it depends on firstly their belief system and how they've learnt about this topic and how they're interpreting it, because they are interpreting it and it's their interpretation.
And we don't actually know.
It could just be ego. They could
We
be making
don't
shit
know
up.
what the afterlife looks like. We don't.
They might be thinking they know. They might not even be doing it from a place of ego. They might just believe that what they are interpreting or seeing is afterlife when it just
And if
could have been a bad prawn.
And if a person has passed away and has come back and has had an experience, that is valid for them. We cannot say that they're lying or that that's not the truth or that it's something different, because they have experienced something very, very profound. And I guess none of us will really know until we die, and I'm not hurrying for that.
Okay, just going up to some more questions. Abandoned tube stations in London and subway stations in New York would be cool. I agree.
Yeah.
I'd love to. We've done some
True Hauntings.
Haunting
we did a
podcast on
True
that.
Hauntings on the London Underground.
Oh.
Casey, yes, we have been to Arundel Asylum. It was quite interesting. It's a spooky place. It really is. So yeah, a lot of people have experiences there. I'm not a fan of asylums. I like to go. I prefer to go during the day when I can bloody well see where I'm going. But they're really spooky.
I can't say I had any necessarily profound paranormal experiences, but it certainly was very vibey. Oh, we did have a good time, spooky girl. Of course we did. You were there, and I love my fidget spinner. I'm still trying to work out how to use it. I've got it over there somewhere. I love it. Do you have any haunted objects in your possession? Well, do you have a favourite? You've got some.
I've got quite a few haunted objects. Are they haunted enough to actually create a haunting? No, but but they have a lot of energy because of the purpose why they were made. So I've got some items that are made by like the indigenous art pieces or made when I used to have enough money to buy things off auction. We used to buy weird and wonderful things, and we've got them hanging around. But I kind of, haunted is one of those terms that lends itself to be manipulated a lot, and it can be an object that has a lot of energy placed into it for a particular reason why it's being created, like maybe a mask or something like that. But none of the haunted objects actually create any sort of energy that might kind of be frightening or move or shift things. I mean, you bought me a haunted doll for was it last year or the year before? You bought me a haunted doll.
Allegedly haunted.
Yeah, she sits in the spare bedroom, but she's fine. All my ghosts have to get on with each other or they're out.
I don't necessarily agree with that, God of Thunder. Your answer is that people see it through the lens of their religion. It's not just religion, it's the way they've been brought up, in what people think is good, bad, average, whatever. That's like saying it's all psychosis or delusional imagination. No, I don't think that's what we said. I think you might be reading more into our interpretation.
Yeah, what's your point in it, God of Thunder? Because that kind of lends itself to...
That's a very good question. I'm just confused by that comment.
But it kind of lends itself for you to be saying you have an answer to this, and we're not giving it to you. So, let us know what you think about that.
Let me take that one out and where was your favourite place you visited in Europe?
We haven't visited enough places yet, Amy Lee.
So far.
So far.
Husker Castle? Eltz Castle?
Oh, castles. There are some really groovy castles. I loved Bavaria. We were only in it for like a couple of hours.
Yeah. And we had
But
a glorious room that was right at the top.
Bavaria. It was beautiful. I'd go back in a heartbeat there. Yeah, it's more time needs to be spent in these places to really sort of tell you.
My dad's dog is doing well, thank you. She's got dementia. I don't think she really understands what's going on, but she's lost a little bit of weight because she was a very heavy dog, and she's doing well now. But thank you for asking. Hello, Hide and Seek Paraquest. How are you doing?
Hello.
Darlinghurst Jail, trust me, she's tried.
I have tried. Occasionally they'll do a bit of a history ghosty tour there. But yeah, I've tried Darlinghurst. Because it's an art school and it's still in use, I think they just don't want to scare off people. So they don't want to get into that. I know that there are quite a number of ghosts that are allegedly in place at the old prison, but they kind of don't talk about it.
A cryptid is a non-human type creature that
Bigfoot or
Yetis, Yowies.
Mothman.
It's humanoid in shape. But I mean, sometimes they've got the big black panthers and things like that as well, or creatures that can't be explained through normal.
Yeah, Cade. That's right, Cade.
Oh, absolutely. Put Cade's page on the site.
Believe podcast. Absolutely.
Yeah, please do, Shane. That would be awesome. And look, Appalachia fascinates me. I would like to visit, but I'm a little scared.
Old magic, very old magic there.
Yeah. I have a book where I'm reading at the moment about a case which has baffled parapsychologists, where this lady from the Appalachia used to form gold leaf on her skin, and they actually sat there and watched it come out and form like this gold.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. The Catin Memorial at Cannock Chase. Remember the Polish memorial?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, we're getting close to the end of the hour. Is there any more questions for us?
Now, there's a new show that is up, and it's all about Slavic magic, which is very interesting. It's called The Unbinding. Has anyone watched it? They find a figure, and the figure has a whole lot of things tied around it and nails put in it and whatever. And they're trying to work out why the figure is got all of this stuff in it. And I think during the process, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know, during the process, they start to take things out. And what it does is it releases the energy that is in this little figure that they have found. So I'm really interested in seeing that, because I know a little bit about Slavic magic, and I would love to know how it's shown in this episode.
Let's see if I can find that book. I've got it down here. I've got way too many books.
Oh, Tree Druid. I live on the site of the old Rachel Foster Historic Hospital in Pitt Street, Redfern. Wow. Have you actually ever had anything happen while you have lived there? That would be very, very interesting. Wow.
I can't find it. It was actually recommended by the Edinburgh University parapsychological course I was doing. And it's really interesting. But it's something like Gold Leaf Lady or something like that. If I can find it, I'll put a picture up on the Anne and Renata Frightfully Good page.
Lisa asked another question. How do you tune out of the energy of fellow guests or the general public when trying to feel out of place. That's hard.
It's hard.
It's something that you just practice. That's all you can do. You just practice. It can help by putting earplugs in, because if you're feeling, you're not necessarily wanting to hear. So put earplugs in, or if you are in a particular place, just close your eyes. So taking away a couple of the senses that you have, that you operate with, and just allow yourself to open that area of feeling and sensation, may be able to help you, Lisa.
My husband's brought us in some tomato soup.
What else? How does residual energy work, Casey? Well, it's kind of like a
I found it.
residual energy. It doesn't have a ghost attached to it per se. It is a replay of an event or a specific thing that has happened on that site, and usually it's a thing that has been repetitive, so it literally ingrains itself into the into the footprint of the site. So the belief is, and this may be also quite a random belief that has got nothing to do with how residual energy works, but they look at different theories and they say that some things can actually store energy if there's a particular type of rock, or something that a building is made out of that is porous. What may happen is that energy actually also gets entrapped into that space, and depending on the people that are there or the time frame, sometimes residual energy is released when no one is there. So it sort of happens at a particular time. Like if you read some stories, they'll say, oh, the white lady will appear on the bridge, every Halloween, the 31st at 10 o'clock. So, okay, we all go to the bridge at 10 o'clock and wait for it to happen, because that's when this residual energy seems to show itself. So it is the repetition of what has happened before. There is no intelligent energy attached to it.
Okay, 2 more questions. If you receive a message from someone who has not asked for your assistance, what do you do? Pass along the message or let it go? This is a really good question and one of Renata's favorites.
If you receive a message from someone who has not asked for your assistance.
So you get a message from Spirit.
Yeah.
That is for someone that's not you, and they haven't actually asked you for messages. Do you go give them that message? Or like if you're walking down the street through a shopping center and you suddenly go, oh, I've got a message for that lady.
No.
Depends how well you know them, I suppose. If they know that you do get messages.
Yeah, no. If you're in an environment where people are there and they're going to be receptive, so you're at a workshop or you're at a psychic fair or you're doing a tour and people are already tuned in to that sort of thing, then that might be the place, and you've got to really use your sense of whether it's the right thing to do or not. But to come up to a stranger and give them a message, that is kind of, and every psychic will have a different set of ethics that they want to work with, Christy Jean. I would not do that because it's not the right place or time to do that.
Amy Lee, I hope you saw the book I put up there for you. The name of the book, The Gold Leaf Lady and Other Parapsychological Investigations by Stephen E. Broud. Yes, Melanie, they are all our gifts up there behind us that people have sent us. We've got a beautiful collection. I absolutely love them to bits. And Byron, you're our last question for the evening. Can someone be spiritually dead, and is there a way to break into this?
Spiritually dead?
That's I suppose it depends what you mean by spiritually dead.
Yeah. Not have a spiritual bone in their body, Byron. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Or
and
not
again,
getting messages, or
that again is an assumption that someone is making about themselves. And whether you are right or whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Remember that whole saying. So if you think you can't, you won't. You have to be open to be able to learn. And some people are really great at it and feel really deeply connected spiritually and work hard at getting even more spiritually connected. For some people, you know what? I always say to people, rich people don't need spirituality because they got money. They can have whatever they want.
Doesn't necessarily make them happy.
Yeah, there is no stress or struggle. They just get whatever they want. They don't look for spirituality. Most people that are really, really spiritual have gone through trauma or anxiety or stress, or have had something really horrible happen, and they're looking for this thing of saying there's got to be more than this.
Can you make sure you're subscribed and give us a thumbs up? Please, please. It's really important.
There's got to be more than this in this world. Some people are really led by their heart to go, this is what I need to do in my life. I need to explore this. And how can you break it? There has to be a willingness in that person to learn. And to explore that side of things. Sometimes the spiritual awakening will do it. They just have to come, for example, on a tour like we do, and they're in that moment and they find that they experience something they've never experienced before, and that's enough to crack it open. For some people, it just doesn't happen.
And yes, Valerie, we did get to go to the Sedlec ossuary in the Czech Republic. It was insane. It was great. All those human bones made into a chapel underneath a church.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyway, we've got to get out of here. Renata, there's your dinner.
Oh.
Roma's brought in some tomato soup with bacon and a chunk of sour cream in the middle. Guys, we will be in New Orleans next time. We're due to be online. So our first Thursday of the month is our tarot readings and the oracle card readings. I don't think we'll get to do it. We'll try to come online at that time. I don't know. That might be really early in the morning in New Orleans, and we've probably just done an investigation the night before, so it might be impossible. But we will be on YouTube, so make sure you have subscribed, and we'll try to do the occasional live there. Of course, our Patreon Grand Poobah supporters will be getting lots of live. So if you want to become a Grand Poobah Patreon supporter, just go to Patreon, Patreon, and you can sign up for $10 US a month, I think it is, and get 2 special sessions a month and some lives when we're away. Thank you all for watching tonight, and lucky you're wearing red, huh?
I was going to say bye.
Bye. See you, everyone. See you on the dark side.
It's
be
good.
frightfully good.
Bye.
Don't be a dickhead. Bye.